Sick kids not wanted. The letter on a brick shattered my window at midnight. My daughter Emma's feeding tube keeps her alive. I'm the top doc at City Hospital, saving kids every day but couldn't save mine. Our HOA president, Linda, did the unthinkable. She poisoned my disabled daughter's feeding tube. Before viewing full story, comment below from where you're viewing. Also like and subscribe for more Karen cruelty stories. Before viewing full story, comment below from where you're watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. Blash broke in during the middle of the night. I sprang out of bed and ran downstairs. There was a brick on my floor with a note taped to it. Get out, sick kids not wanted here. My hand trembled as I picked up the brick. This wasn't coincidental. This was because of my daughter Emma and her feeding tube. This was because of Linda Morgan, the leader of our neighborhood group who hated us from day one. I'm Dr. Tom Wilson. I save lives of children every day as the finest doctor in the city hospital. But now I couldn't even protect my own daughter in our home, Dad. What happened? Emma called from upstairs. She was at the top of the stairs in pajamas, her feeding tube visible on her little face. She was just 9, but had spent much of her life in hospitals. It's nothing, honey, I lied, holding the brick behind me. Just the wind. Go to bed. Emma frowned. She was cleverer than to be fooled. It's that nasty lady again, isn't it? Mrs. Morgan doesn't like us here because I'm sick. My heart broke. I crept up the stairs and hugged my little girl. She was so thin in my arms, the tube was the only thing keeping her alive because her body couldn't digest food normally. It's not because you're sick, I said quietly. It's because some people are afraid of things they don't understand. But you're a doctor, Emma said. Can't you just tell her? If only it were that easy. The trouble began the day we moved in 3 months ago. I purchased this house because it was near the hospital and had good schools for kids with medical conditions. I never thought our neighbor would hate us for having medical needs. On our first day, Linda Morgan stormed over while the medical supply truck was making the delivery of Emma's equipment. No business deliveries allowed in our neighborhood, she snapped. Her perfect hair didn't move in the wind, and her smile was as fake as her tan. These aren't business supplies, I explained. They're medical supplies for my daughter. Linda's face twisted with disgust. Well, keep all that hospital trash out of sight. It depresses property values. After that, Linda complained about something being wrong with our house every day. The wheelchair ramp I built not approved. The nurse's car can't park more than 4 hours. The special film on Emma's windows, wrong color every time she gave us a fine. Every time she was redder than before. 2 weeks ago, I had a small birthday party for Emma in our backyard. 6 of her friends from the hospital came over. Linda called the police saying we were operating a hospital in a residential area. When the officers saw it was just kids having cake, they apologized and left. But Emma was crying, her special day ruined. That night, after cleaning up the broken glass from the brick, I decided enough was enough. I'm a surgeon, I fix things every day. I would correct this one too. The next morning, I sent Emma to stay with my sister, and I installed cameras all around in our house. Then I called a meeting with the neighborhood board without letting Linda know. At the meeting, I found that there were a majority of members of the board who had no idea what Linda was doing. She had been acting alone. Dr. Wilson, we did not know. Said Mrs. Lee, another board member. Linda told us your alterations were for looks, not medical necessities. I showed them photos of Emma papers about her sickness and the brick with its ugly message. No one said a word. I'm not a neighbor. I explained to them. I'm the senior physician at City Hospital. Several of your children are my patients. All I need is for my daughter to be secure in our house. The board acted to pass all our medical necessities. Linda was angry, but couldn't hold back. I thought our challenge was over. I was wrong. 3 days later, Emma was rushed to the emergency room. She was throwing up blood in spasm and pain. As a father and a doctor, I knew something was horribly wrong. Her throat and belly were scorched by some chemical agent. While doctors attended to Emma, I scanned our security camera tapes. There it was, Linda using her key, which she held as head of the neighborhood association, to open our home when we were at Emma's therapy. The camera captured her heading to our refrigerator, opening Emma's feeding tube liquid, and putting something in it from a small bottle she had in her handbag. The hospital test revealed it. She had spiked Emma's feeding tube liquid with drain cleaner. If Emma had received a full feeding, rather than just a small amount before falling ill, she could have been killed a turn. The video over to the police. Linda was arrested that night at a neighborhood meeting. What occurred was painful to all of us. Emma needed 3 surgeries to fix the damage to her stomach and throat. The feeding tube that was keeping her healthy now became even more critical to sustain her life. While Linda was on trial, we learned she had shoved out 3 other medical needs families ahead of us, but none had been attacked physically like Emma. Linda's reasoning was that she was protecting home values. The judge didn't think a child's life is worth more than any home, he said while meting out her punishment. What you did wasn't just against the law. It was heartless and cruel. Linda got 15 years in prison for trying to kill Emma and burglarizing our home. While Emma was healing from her surgery, something amazing happened. The neighbors we thought despised us ended up being supportive of us. When we came back home from the hospital, our trip was lined with neighbors who stood with signs, "Welcome home, Emma, and we support the Wilsons." Mrs. Lee stepped forward. "We took a vote while you were away," she said. "The bank took Linda's house after she was arrested. All of the neighbors contributed to buy it. We're making it a center that cares for families with sick children. With your help, Dr. Wilson, if you wish." I wept when Emma was still weak, but working hard, limped slowly out of the car with her new walker. "Does this mean we can stay?" she asked softly. An older man stepped forward. "Young lady, my grandson had heart surgery last year. Dr. Wilson saved his life. This neighborhood doesn't just want you to stay. We need families like yours to remind us what really matters." Over the next year, Emma got stronger. The neighborhood changed too. The support center opened in Linda's old house, providing assistance to families with medical issues. Every month, I educate the neighbors on various medical conditions. Knowledge conquers fear. The brick that broke through our door now resides in a glass case at the support center, reminding everyone how hate can turn to healing. As for Emma, she celebrated her 10th birthday party in our backyard. This time, 20 neighborhood children attended, some with medical equipment such as Emma. Others just friends who learned that being different isn't scary. I settled her while she blew out candles, her feeding tube trimmed with stickers, and surrounded by friends who paid attention to her instead of her illness. "What did you want for?" I asked afterwards when I bedded her in. "I cannot tell you, Dad," she said, grinning. "But now I do not have to wish for anything. We are home already." At times, the most significant mending happens outside of hospitals, and occasionally the best medicine is being neighbors who opt kindness and not fear. Linda Morgan thought she was crafting her perfect neighborhood by banishing us. Instead, she helped create a community that's more kinder and stronger in beautiful ways that no rules of the house could measure. Up as a doctor, I've saved many children, but it was my daughter with her fearless heart who taught our community how to live fully. 2 years have now passed since that terrible night. Emma is better than I always prayed. She still needs her feeding tube, but she's taller and heavier. Her doctors are amazed at how good she's doing. The support center, now called Emma's Place, has helped over 30 families with medical problems. 3 families with sick children have moved to our community because we're seen as helpful and kind. Last month, I got a letter from the prison where Linda is incarcerated. I almost didn't open it, but Emma said everyone should get to hear, "I can't ask you to forgive me," Linda wrote. "But I want you to know I think about your daughter every day." In prison, I read to sick children in the hospital. I volunteer every week. It doesn't erase what I did, but maybe it does add a little good into the world. I shared the letter with Emma. "Should we write back?" I asked Emma, thought for a moment, playing with her feeding tube because she has a habit to do when she's focusing. "Yes," she said finally. "Tell her I forgive her. Not because she deserves it, but because anger is too heavy a burden to carry." Such sense coming from such a young child. Yesterday, Emma started 5th grade, something we used to worry would never happen. As she walked onto the school bus, her medical pack decorated with pins and badges of other children at the support center. The bus driver high-fived her. "Got your superpowers today, Emma?" he asked, pointing to the feeding pump. "Always," she smiled. I stood watching the bus leave, waiting with neighbors who had congregated to see this special moment. Mrs. Lee squeezed my hand. "You know," she whispered, Linda was right about something. Medical equipment does affect house prices. I gazed at her in wonder. Oh yes, she continued smiling. 3 houses were sold last month for over the asking price. The real estate agent explained people particularly wanted to reside in the neighborhood that stands up for their own. Sometimes justice arrives in unexpected ways. Sometimes healing occurs in ways no medical textbook could foresee. And sometimes the worst startings lead to the most lovely endings. Emma was correct. Forgiveness isn't about what others deserve. It's about not allowing hate to fill your heart when there are better things to put there. Like watching a school bus carry away a little girl who once had a brick thrown through her door, but now has an entire neighborhood watching over her. That's the truth about homes. The best ones aren't built with walls and roofs, but with love and acceptance. And those are the kind no neighborhood rules can ever control. Are you happy with the revenge that Karen got? Let's discuss in comments section below.